GameDev sucks, like real sucks. To be more specific, I mean GameDev plus YouTube. So things like making devlogs. Now you might be wondering, who am I to say something like this? Well, I've been making games for the past 4 years now, and I've released 3 games with 1 app on the Play Store and 4 games on itch.io. Now I'm not claiming to be the best developer in the world who spent 3 years working on a game, who made all the assets himself and worked 17 hours a day. No, I'm not that developer. But what I have done is spend 9 months straight working on a game, and at the end of the day getting 200 downloads, 90% of which were people I kinda forced to play the game. The algorithm did nothing. This was what led me to create a YouTube channel after seeing the success of people like Danny making a decent amount of cash from making games in 1 week. Marketing was my problem, or so I thought. Now there was another algorithm to beat, the YouTube algorithm. This is where I was in deep soup. Everything fell apart. Just to master the art of making videos, I had to learn a whole new skill set like video editing, thumbnail design, SEO optimization, voice acting, coming up with interesting ideas with catchy titles so that the YouTube gods can grace me with a 1 out of 10. This led me to make games just for YouTube. It no longer was about making a fun game. Now it was about making a game that gets clicks. And I'm now currently battling with identity crisis, where I'm asking myself, am I a game developer who makes YouTube videos, or am I a YouTuber who makes games? Sure, they may sound the same, but they definitely aren't the same. On the game dev side, we have developers like Sebastian League, David Wilhelm, Thomas Brush. These developers make games for the sake of making a game and simply just use YouTube as a tool to market it, get feedback, and potentially get some ad revenue. On the YouTube side, we have people like Danny, Polymath, Jabrius. These developers focus more on making fun, engaging YouTube devlogs tailored for a wider audience, gamers and developers alike. In fact, Jabrius once said it by himself that he is more of a YouTuber who makes games because apparently that's what pays the bills.
And look, the truth of the matter is, no matter how much I might cosplay as one, I am not a game developer. Unfortunately, I am a YouTube creator. That's how I pay my bills. It is what it is.
Now, I'm not claiming I know for sure the motivations of these developers. I'm simply just stating my opinion based on what I see. Finally, there's me. Well, it seems clear that within the last 3 years, I've been more of a YouTuber rather than a game developer. So, what's the problem? Well, even though I'm now more on the YouTube side, from the beginning, I fell in love with game dev, not YouTube. And YouTube was supposed to just be a means to market my games. When I do YouTube, it was never about it being fun or being passionate about it. No, it was simply to make solo game dev able to put food on the table. And maybe that was the best choice from a business perspective, because I sure as heck don't want to spend another 9 months working on a game and making peanuts. Still, I miss working on games just for the sake of making a game. Making a game without the thought of making a YouTube video. Not worried if the character looks good enough to get clicks. Not having to make sure there's enough funny moments so that the viewers don't click off. Or good grief, not making yet another another Squid Game clone because that's what gets views. When I started GameDev itself was the end, not just the means to an end. The very act of making games itself was fun. Without the numbers, without the success, without the thinking of fame, money, GameDev was hard. It was tough. It was stressful. It was fun still. And that's why I chose it as my career in the first place. Now, what does this mean for the future? Well, I saw somewhere that when one is overwhelmed about something, they should write down the problems and possible solutions in hopes that this would make things clearer. So I'm going to be doing that right now in front of everyone. My first problem, I'm in my finals and I have nothing to show for. Second, GameDev isn't currently putting food on the table. And lastly, YouTube is time consuming as heck. Now, what are the possible solutions to these problems? Well, honestly, for the first one, I really don't know, because since I'm in my finals, I'm going to be a whole lot more busy than ever before because of exams and my final year project. For the second problem, well, I could just get a job, but I really wants to be an indie dev. And the third, and this is where things get interesting, just downscale your YouTube videos and make whack content so it takes less time. Well, I guess using the word whack might be a little bit too harsh here, because there are actually contents that have little to zero editing, scripts, and are still quite fun to watch. So having highly edited videos is definitely just a style of making content, not the rule. Out of all the three solutions, the third one seems the most feasible, because I spent about 70% of the time editing videos. So if I just make, this really pains me to say, low quality YouTube videos and that goes well, it could end up solving the other two problems, where I'm graduating by the end of this year and somehow having about hopefully 10,000 subscribers. Sure, that's not much, but definitely something to show for, considering only 2 million channels in the entire world have 10,000 subscribers or more, out of, I kid you not, 113.9 million active channels. With that, one will be in the top 1.75% of all other channels out there. And finally, it could eventually start putting food on the table. So that's what I'm doing right now. This video took me about, I don't know how long this video will take, but I will write it how long this video took me to make. And that includes time for scripting, voice acting, editing, designing the thumbnail, and publishing. In contrast to my last video, which took me about 2 months, and I don't mean 2 months with working 1 hour, 2 hours a day. I mean 2 months working 8 hours a day, 60 hours a week to make both the game and the video, just to end up getting 140 views. By the way, I'm not saying I deserve to get more views, because my click-through rate was pretty bad. It was terrible, and I know YouTube has a business to run. So keep going, YouTube, and I will keep making Squid Game clones with Mr. Beast in the thumbnail. Nah, I'm just kidding. And if there is any takeaway I can get from this experience, it's just two things: fail fast and start small.